I set my camera down and here's Johnny. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you know that I am forever talking about why it is wrong to make a flush cut on a tree. Dr. Alex Shigo was the scientist who came up with the understanding of how trees compartmentalize and how wounds can either close up or increase into a large cavity of decay. And if we go back in time, way back before the advent of the chainsaw, you didn't see a whole lot of flush cuts. You know, if you understand what a flush cut is, it's where it's cut as close to the bark as possible and to the trunk of the tree, and it makes a much, much larger wound than if you were to leave the branch collar and retain a bit more of the integrity of the way that the limb can absorb the wound. Also, a flush cut is so much larger than a little bit smaller cut. So in today's video, I want to talk a little bit about a particular tree. Actually, there's a few trees, but one in particular that I show a lot of examples that will help you to understand better. But this video should be sent to your clients or to people who are trying to learn about trees, people who just don't understand, because seeing is believing. When you look at a problem and you can see the problem and go, aha, I recognize what's going on, then you understand. So this video is about understanding. Thanks again for all of you guys who've been supporting me for such a long time. Please hit that little bell up there if you want to get notified of the next video. Subscribe and leave comments and, you know, hit the like button. Do what it takes to help me build this channel, because, you know, this isn't about me. This is about spreading the word of understanding trees better. Thanks a lot. Coffee. This is my B cup. Wait a minute, that sounds weird. Big flush cut. Bad, really bad. I spurred this tree over and over. Oh, look at all the spur marks up there. There's another interesting wound. It's a really old wound and it's quite hollow. You can see all the discoloration coming out of it. It's like another big wound up there that's also hollow. And this limb is associated with a lot of weight. And it's all wrapped up in the wires. I see 1, 2, 3 cables in this tree. There's an old wound. There's a significant wound right there. Looks like it might be. There is an active beehive in this hole. It's cold, so it's not real active yet. But we have to stay away from this. Those are honeybees. There are 2 cables here, one on the top and one on the bottom. And the bottom one is actually broken. And I'm trying to figure out where that bottom one would have gone, and all I can see is that it stretched over to that side. For some strange reason, they put a cable going sideways, not as a support. So, and that cable up there is as tight as can be. It's like a guitar string. And there's two more way up there. Did you check that other cable? This one down here? All right?
Not yet.
Not yet? Okay. All right, I can probably check it from down here. That's supporting this. You can see it moving.
And this one is loose.
Okay.
Oh, this has some flexible.
Okay. How tight is that one?
Oh, it's pretty tight.
Yeah.
It's like that one.
Can you play a high C on it? Like a guitar, huh? Yeah. So this video is about recognizing hazards and problems in trees, and I want you to know that the woman told me, I just want you to make my trees safe. I had to laugh, but I didn't do it in front of her, so I started looking at the trees and I came back to her, and this was a tree that was on the edge of her property that was just in so much, I don't even know what the right word is for this. Hazard, yes. Extreme problems, yes. I honestly, I couldn't believe it. So I did a real thorough inspection. I think you're going to enjoy this because I honestly do not know why this tree is still standing. It's on a hillside right adjacent to the property, and there was several other big trees that had already fallen down in the past. You can see some of the trunks and the stumps down there. And the base of this tree is very hollow. But there was also a couple of very large broken bits up high. And I tell you, when somebody asks me to inspect a tree like this and, I start looking, the deeper I look, the more I find. I want you to go inside the tree with me. How many times do you get to go inside of a tree? I was thinking about climbing inside there, but then I thought, maybe there's a raccoon living in here. I'm inspecting the outer periphery of this, and you can see there is some active tissue that's kind of enveloping it, but some of it is very rotten. If I'd hit that hard with a rock, that whole edge would have come off. I'm not here to make it look any uglier, but I do want to get a thorough understanding. Look at that. I put the camera up inside, looking for a raccoon. Maybe I should have gotten inside there. Oh dear, what are we going to do with this tree? So she asked me to make it safe. On the back side of the tree, there was a big pile of insect frass. Insect frass is the excrement and sawdust that all those boring insects excrete. Big pile, big pile. I'm sure this has been habitat for all kinds of animals over many, many years. I'm sure there was big piles of other kind of animal poop and stuff inside there, which is another reason not to go in. So I keep looking. I'm walking all the way around. I'm trying to see if there's anything that's screaming at me, that it's actually moving. This little window was really, really cool. This is probably what started the decay from a long time ago. Or possibly, somebody made a flush cut. There we go, flush cuts. This can be what happens when you make a flush cut. It starts rotting out and getting worse. And all the weight of the tree is over on the other side. I set my camera down and here's Johnny. If you don't understand that one, maybe you're not old enough. So I really, really enjoyed looking at this, but the answer that I had to give this woman on what could we do to make it safe, I guess I could have chopped the heck out of the top of the tree and taken all the leverage off and hoped that it suckered out. But she was quite adamant that she did not want to have that happen. So I came back to her and I said, the only thing I can really say, the only thing I can think of is to remove the tree. She says, make it safe. I said, I can't possibly make this tree safe. Hello. So let's get back into the tree that we're actually trimming. I found this kind of disturbing because she's had this tree worked on many times, and whoever worked on this in the past either completely ignored this or was oblivious to the fact that these wires were embedded in the tree. Now, a few years back, this could have been resolved once and for all, and this wouldn't have been a problem. Now, I believe these cables are supporting that particular limb.
Right there.
It goes in
Up.
further than you saw, and it goes up.
Yep. I can.
Wow.
There's one more row somewhere right there. I think back there. Can we check?
Now, this is the limb that is being supported by those cables. I see a very significant weakness at the limb union here, as well as a number of decay pockets and weaknesses. And those cables, they're pretty strong cables. And because the limb was completely embedded in it, this limb could potentially have broken off if I cleared those cables. So I was up there in the bucket and I looked at it all really closely, as well as all the old spur marks. Look at how many old spur marks they are. You know, it's like whoever got up in this tree just gouged and gouged and gouged and gouged. I just don't get it. Now here's another overall view of that limb. I want to show you, there's those decay pockets, and here's those cables. It's like cable TV and telephone lines, but they're all embedded with a very strong cable, and you can see how this limb basically looks like it's being supported by the utility cables. Now, this was next door. This is a little bit different, but this is a tree that I have inspected in the past. I actually did a video on this years ago. Maybe you remember it. And the old man that lives down here, he chooses not to deal with this, but I ran a probe inside here, and this tree is completely hollow. All the way inside. I mean, I ran a probe in here that went in about 4 feet, all the way around. And you can see when you look at this tree closely that there's a big pocket, a big catch pocket, and that was compromised, so that went down into the hollowing. There are some cables up there, but how strong are those cables? Are they just buying time, or are they going to be like the ticking time bomb that when they break, the whole thing explodes? And at one point, somebody just basically destroyed the root system on this side of the tree. This tree is significantly older than this property. So what we do to the trees that we love, I just don't get it. All right, back to the other job. The woman paid a lot of money for some huge redwood trees that she had put in, and whoever planted the trees left the supports on there, the nursery stakes, and you can see what happens. That's after 2 years' time. These green bands are digging into these trees, and she wanted it for a privacy hedge. And there's yet another tree, and it's got a number of mushrooms growing off the base. I'm not sure what kind of mushrooms those are, but it's important to identify that. Oh, I don't know. This was a bit of a shocker as well. She opened the garage for us to go through, and on the wall she had all the targets. Presumably it was her late husband's hobby or something, but and to wrap this up, this is the cheesecake my wife made for me for my 70th birthday. She was all shot up.